Mr. Ceniceros,
Here.
Mrs. Contreras, Mrs. Barnett.
Here. We'll have the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. At this time, we'll ask that you silence your phone, and we'll take a moment of silence, please. Thank you. Do we have any board member statements?
Okay, well, thank you. First off, before I give my update, I want to acknowledge that October is LGBTQ+ History Month. I think it's important that we not only embrace the history of every culture in our district, but I think it's important that we especially recognize the ones who have been historically marginalized. Right after our last meeting, I caught a plane to Chicago and I attended the CUBE conference. And it was an amazing experience to connect with other amazing, great leaders from throughout the country who are doing the work that we are doing here on this DS. It was amazing to hear from Ice-T, who gave very inspirational words on about the barriers that he went through as a young black man in LA. And he kind of gave us advice as school members about what we can do to dismantle oppressive systems that have historically held back our black and brown students. This past weekend, I attended, wrapped up my fellowship with school board partners, and I'm thankful forever for them, they have empowered me to be equipped and ready to do the work that the remainder 3 years of my term on the board. So they're forever in my heart, and I'm super excited to continue forward as my work as a school board member. That's all I have.
Thank you.
This past month, I was able to attend Fine Arts Academy's Muffins with Mr. Monahan, and I loved getting to know more about the opportunities we're going to potentially offer our gifted students, as well as I was able to attend Fine Arts Kids at Hope Assembly for September, and it was really great. They have K-8, all of the students come in and celebrate all the students that were Kids at Hope that month, and it just makes my heart happy to see the whole community together and celebrating all the students K-8.
Anyone else? I attended a Alomar field trip to ASU, and the whole school went, so that's a big achievement. That's not easy. And I will have to say it was very organized, very creative. I got to meet some parents there that lived in the area, which was really nice. I had forgot what it liked to ride on a bus. I have to say that was interesting, okay, with traffic. So thank you for everyone that planned it. It did a great job. It's very difficult to get the entire school, and it was very organized, very creative, and appreciated. So thank you. With that, looks like you're up, Dr. Freeman, for the superintendent's report.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the board. Buenas tardes a todos, and good evening, everybody. I have a few remarks this evening. So you might notice that our meeting's being held a little earlier in the month than usual. We're on the first Tuesday instead of the second Tuesday because next week is fall break. And I'm sure both students and staff are looking forward to the break and having some time enjoying the outdoors now that the weather is finally cooling off a little bit. If you plan to go to the fair, please do it over fall break. We don't want anybody missing school unless they're truly ill. So it's a great opportunity to get down there and enjoy that. I'd like to thank all of our custodial staff in the Littleton district because they go above and beyond to ensure our campuses are beautiful and safe places for everyone to learn and grow and succeed. We're fortunate to have them like every other part of the workforce. It's a challenge to get people to fill all of our positions, and they're doing a great job of keeping our schools looking good. As we do every year, parent-teacher conferences are scheduled immediately before fall break. So those will be going on the rest of the week, different times that teachers can schedule with parents when they're available. The level of participation from our families has historically been very high, which is a good indication parents really care about school activities. We strive for 100% every year, so I encourage parents to reach out if your conference with your child's teacher isn't scheduled already. This will be my last chance before the November election to remind our community exercise their right to vote. The deadline to register is the end of this week. And then the election, being an all mail-in election, will start having ballots arriving in people's mailboxes as early as next week. They don't all come at the same time. They get mailed out in batches. But the first batch goes out right after the deadline to register. In the Littleton district, we're blessed that we don't experience some of the anti-public education sentiment going around in other regions and on social media. We're always very aware and appreciative of the continued support of the Littleton community. Our board authorized a question for maintenance and operations override of the state's minimal pupil appropriation that directly supports programs and students in the Littleton district. This is a continuation, which means it's not an ask for additional fundings, and there's no tax rate increase. In Arizona, roughly 86% of students attend a district that operates on some sort of formula override, as the per pupil funding in the state is one of the lowest in the nation. The way to make a difference is for our business partners and families to make their voice heard. And if you're mailing in your ballot, remember you have to have that postmarked by October 31st, because it has to arrive at elections in time for the election. Activities to support student attendance, family engagement, and Kids at Hope framework have been taking place year-round. Hope fuels our students' dreams and plans for their future. Every student at Collier has identified 4 ACEs, and next month they'll highlight a destination with their Spirit Week. At Fine Arts, students have also identified their ACE on campus. Their ACEs believe wholeheartedly in the truth that all children are capable of success, no exceptions. Treasure Hunters encourage students to visit their future, time travel to the 4 destinations, and Falcon Families Fun Fest provided a positive example of the power and impact of community and service destination. Quinton's Shark of the Month assemblies are off to a great start with families showing up in full force. They celebrated their classes at each level who won best attendance, and the classes with the best attendance for the whole month of August were awarded with an ice cream party by the PTA. Trace Real Service Academy Assembly welcomed many families celebrating students who demonstrated academic excellence and good character. Those students received recognition on the principals list, the honor roll, and the All Things EQ Character Award, Dreambox and Achieve 3000 and others. Last month I said we'd report more on our 9/11 activities, so I want to add that Collier students wrote letters to their heroes thanking them for their service, created Patriots Day interactive foldables, and created reports, all remembrance and appreciation for those who have and continue to serve our community. Country Place had a variety of activities such as the history of 9/11, patriotism, and heroism. The Hawks at Estrella Vista learned the significance of the day with a variety of classroom activities, including a first grader discussion of the impact of 9/11 from their perspective, and a 6th grader who made a multimedia presentation with commitments on doing good deeds themselves for others. The Fine Arts Falcons experience centered around the impact on our way of life and the heroism and patriotism that resulted with a generous community donor gifting American flags to everybody. Littleton students took part in the 9/11 anniversary digital learning experience, a virtual event that was put on by the 9/11 Memorial and Museum, and they joined students and teachers from all around the nation and connected with the museum staff in an interactive chat where they were able to ask questions and learn more about 9/11. Quinton Sharks Classes created pictures, flags, and the CASA students painted flags with their handprints. Tres Rios Pumas constructed a unity paper chain with the names of the fallen in the attacks on 9/11 and a tribute to their service and first responders. Were invited to attend the event to thank them for their service. Patriot Day posters were created by students and delivered to the Avondale Police Station and Fire Department in appreciation. Last night, I held the second Parent Advisory Council meeting of the year. Our PTA officers from around the schools exchanged ideas on fundraising activities. It seems there's a lot more fun fundraising activities these days than in my principal days or as a grade school parent. The PTAs have reached out to food truck vendors that visit community events, and they're popular with our families. Quentin STEM Academy will have a sale the morning of November 4th, providing an outlet for families to sell crafts and art pieces and other handmade items, as well as gently used items. And that's a great place for people to purchase them that'll be new to them. If you want to have a space, you can contact QuentinSharksPTA@gmail.com and get a reservation. Our next engagement opportunity is our coffee talks in the Welcome Center. That's coming up the day after tomorrow at 9 in the morning. Our community is invited to come and learn about volunteer opportunities and free reading opportunities for early learners. This month will also include fall celebrations at our schools. Some may include the food trucks again. I'm not sure which ones are which, but I heard that. The Tres Rios has their trunk or treat from 5 to 7 on October 25th. And on October 27th, we have a lot of activities. There's trunk or treat fun from 5 to 7 at Collier Fine Arts and Quinton STEM. The same night, Country Place is having a haunted bus from 5:30 to 7:30. And Littleton STEM will have their fall festival from 4:30 to 6:30. So in closing, I just want to express our appreciation to Savannah Underwood, the city of Avondale, for their donation of school supplies. And that's all I have to report this evening.
Thank you, Dr. Freeman. Ms. Garrison, looks like we're going to turn it over to you.
Thank you, Madam President, Governing Board. Tonight, I'd like to welcome Dr. Mike Cagle to the podium for tonight's showcase. He is the principal of Country Place Leadership Academy and has some students here tonight to show us how you get on the Lighthouse team, why leaders want to join the team, and some of the work this young group of leaders are getting done. He will also be introducing Lorraine Lopez, a volunteer he'd like to recognize, and his Kid at Hope Student of the Month, 8th grader Ryan M. Jones. Dr. Cagle.
Don't mind, I brought my security team tonight. President Reyes, members of the board, Dr. Freeman, executive team members, members of the community, it's my absolute pleasure to get to speak with you a little bit today about what makes Country Place Leadership Academy special. Behind me is the biggest reason it's special, it's our students. But I wanted to start by just reminding you what our vision is. It's I Lead, inspiring leaders to exceed, achieve, and dream. And we use the Leader in Me process and teach the 7 habits of highly effective people to our students. And we believe in 5 leadership paradigms, which really define who we are. 1, that everyone is a leader. 2, everyone has genius. 3, change starts with me. 4, we want to empower our students to lead their own learning. And then the last one is to partner with the community and our families to support our leaders. So we have some amazing community partners, including a variety of governmental entities, including the United States Congress, our legislators, both Senate and representatives, Maricopa County, all of our local cities, the Arizona Bar Association, WestMec, and the list goes on. We have great partners at Country Place that come in and support our students. They reach out, especially with our kind of public policy bend that we have to our school. So we do a lot of work with our local government entities, learning about how it works, how to impact positively our community. It's a great experience for our students. Things that you can do at Country Place that you don't get other places. You learn the 7 habits, you learn the leadership paradigms, and you get an opportunity to speak and teach an authentic audiences like tonight. So again, this is a great opportunity for our students, some of which have spoken in public before and some who haven't. Some who spoke in public for the first time, I think, Wednesday, right? So it's a great opportunity for them. So the Student Lighthouse team, they're going to talk to you about what the Lighthouse team is. This was one day in the Student Lighthouse team. This was last Wednesday. It was free dress day. That's why you notice no uniforms. So I just want to throw that out there. But this, if you come every other Wednesday, you can walk around our campus and you can take pictures of the Lighthouse team doing just amazing leadership work. It's again what I love about our campus. If you want to see leadership, just come show up. So any day you can come and see amazing things that students are doing. And so without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Leo. Come on up, sir.
Hello, I am Leonardo and I am on the Student Lighthouse team. The Student Lighthouse team shapes us as a school and makes it better a place. We currently have 58 students from grades grades 3 to 8. We meet every other week in the leadership classroom with our teams, Ms. Palacios, Ms. Morin, and Ms. Sobelman. We work in action teams on variety of strategies to empower our learners, including creating leadership binders, teaching leadership lessons, and organizing events. Once per month, the students and the organizing and the entire staff meet in the library to synergize and make improvements to our school. Lighthouse is important because it helps students find their voice and share their input on their ideas. Now I'd like to introduce Elise to talk about how to get on the Lighthouse team.
Hello, I am Elise, and I have been at Country Place since 2nd grade. I joined the Lighthouse during 3rd grade, which was during the pandemic, and we were online. If you want to join the Lighthouse team, you need to apply. The application is a paper that you get outside of Ms. Silverman, Ms. Morin, or Ms. Palacios' door. The application asks why you want to join and why you would be a good team member. We also ask why you love CPLA and what you would want to change. Then you come to an interview. The interview panel consists of current Lighthouse team members, staff members, and committee members. The panel members use a rubric to rate the applications. If you made it this far, there is a good chance you will make it in. We are getting ready to interview for this year soon. Now, I would like to introduce Ryan to talk to you about why he wants to join Lighthouse.
Hello, my name is Ryan. I'm in 8th grade. I want to join the Lighthouse team. I want to make the school better. I want to be a helping hand. I would love to join the event team or the family learning team. I have filled out an application. I am excited and I'm nervous about this. Now I would like to introduce Lily to talk about our family learning team.
Hello, my name is Lily and I am on the family learning team. Our team is planning on sending out leadership projects based on the 7 habits for families to do at home. We want to spread the 7 habits for families to do. We want to spread the 7 habits to our homes. We want our families to know what it means to be a leadership family and a leadership school. We have also been making videos introducing the 7 habits and interviewing people discussing the habits. I've learned a lot about leadership and synergizing by being on an action team. Last year we had more members, more ideas, and it was kind of chaos. We learned that we have to use the 7 habits ourselves in order to have an effective team, and we have made great strides this year. We also have a few less members. We are excited to be teaching our community about the 7 habits and learning more about each other along the way. We make a difference. Now I would like to introduce Yuritsi, who has a special invitation for you as long as you can take a good scare.
Good evening. My name is Yuritsi and I am on Events Action Team. Our team has made many contributions that has positively impacted our school. We plan and realize school events. We host an annual leadership day and many other events. One of the events that we will be hosting is Trunk or Treat on October 27th at 5:30 to 7 p.m. We also partner with the transportation department and will have 3 haunted buses the same date and time. Our team presented to the entire staff, pitching the event, asking for staff members. Thank you to each and every staff member, parent, and community members that have participated in any out-school activities. You make a difference. These events can bring memories to students that we remember for our entire lives. So thank you again for your time and attention, and please come and join us on October 27th at Country Place Leadership Academy. Now, do you have any questions for our team or Dr. Cagle?
You guys all in 8th grade?
No. Is there any questions? No, I will just say thank you to the Lighthouse team. You are great leaders. We look forward to you continuing your leadership skills and one day maybe even sitting up here if you have a desire leading our schools. Time flies, so it won't take long. And then, as you indicated so kindly, all of you do make a great difference, and this is an example of it. So thank you for being here. All of you did great. I know that's a little nerve-wracking, but you did just like a professional. So thank you very, very much.
I do want to wish Ryan good luck. I hope you make it.
Dr. Cagle, can you take your team to the backdrop for a photo?
Parents, if you want to take pictures, it's a great time to get them individually or as a group.
She's already playing my job.
Good for her. Count that for you. You'll find there's never enough. And thank you, parents. You're part of the reason they're great leaders, so we appreciate that as well. So thank you for being here. I'm sorry, what did you?
Cagle, the principal at Country Place Leadership Academy.
Now
And I'm
for
Bree, the admin assistant.
the volunteer of the month.
And we're here to recognize the volunteer of the month, Lorraine Lopez.
Yay!
Lorraine is one of our incredible grandparents here at Country Place, and Miss Bree is going to share some of the amazing things about her contributions to our school.
So for starters, I just wanted to say congratulations, Miss Lopez, you're awesome. Thank you so much for always coming into the front office, smiling and just making us happy to see you. Your presence is always welcome. Thank you so much for all the hard work that you've been doing to help support us in PTA and just making sure that we're on our toes. Thank you so much.
We're so proud of all your contributions, and we really appreciate everything that you and your family has done to make Country Place a very special place. So again, thank you and congratulations.
Congratulations.
Hello, I'm Dr. Cagle, the principal at Country Place Leadership Academy.
Okay, so now let's hear from your kid at Hope.
Hello, my name is Ryan. I'm a kid at Hope. The Kids at Hope Award is very important to me because I show my leadership around the school. I helped Dr. Cagle set up a project to support the 7th and 8th graders to go on a trip to a university. I show my leadership when I'm trying to help classes for Shine. I show my leadership in a lot of many different ways. Like for instance, last year I shined for kindergarten and I had to help read and write. That shows your leadership. When you show your leadership, it all pays off at the end. Mr. Lopes is one of my aces. He is a strong leader and a good role model. Thank you so much for this award.
Mom?
Thank you again for all the great leadership and the participation in our districts. You are really the reason this school continues to be successful and this district continues to be successful. So thank all of you and thank the parents as well. You're welcome to stay. Our agenda is not that long, but I also understand if you need to get dinner or go home and do homework. So whatever you'd like to do, it's a good time if you want to do that. Next, I'm going to go back to the proclamation that I skipped over, and Amy and Marcus has agreed to read them. So Amy, I'll turn it over to you.
So, whereas bullying is physical, verbal, sexual, or emotional harm or intimidation intentionally directed at a person or group of people, and whereas bullying occurs in neighborhoods, playgrounds, schools, and through technology, and whereas various researchers have concluded that bullying is the most common form of violence affecting millions of American children and adolescents annually, and whereas children who bully are at greater risk of engaging in more serious violent behaviors, and whereas children who witness bullying often feel less secure, more fearful, and intimidated. Now, therefore, the governing board of the Littleton Elementary School District do hereby proclaim October is National Bullying Prevention Month. And hold on, my mouse does not want to work anymore. And be it further resolved that the Littleton schools, students, and parents, recreation programs, religious institutions, and community organizations be encouraged to engage in a variety of awareness and prevention activities designed to make our community safer for all children and adolescents.
Okay, thank you, Amy. I'm going to read the Principals Month proclamation. Whereas Littleton School District Governing Board, in coordination with the U.S. Congress, has declared the month of October as National Principals Month. The month of October as National Principals Month, and whereas principals are expected to be educational visionaries, institutional leaders, assessment experts, disciplinarians, community builders, public relation experts, budget analysis, facility managers, and special programs administrators. And whereas principals are entrusted with the education and development of young people, and whereas principals set the academic tone of their schools and work collaboratively with staff to develop and maintain high curriculum standards, develop a mission statement, and set performative goals and objectives for schools to achieve educational excellence. And whereas the courageous vision, dedication, and determination of a principal provides a mobilization force behind any school reform effort, and whereas to honor and recognize the contribution of all of our principals and their assistance to the success of students in the Littleton Elementary School District. And now, therefore, be it resolved in honor of our service of all of our principals and to recognize the importance of their school leadership so that every child has access to a high-quality education, and to celebrate school leader accomplishments, the month of October is hereby designated in the Littleton School District to be National Principals Month, Awareness Month.
Thank you both. Appreciate it. Both very important proclamations. Next, do we have a call to the public? We do not. So we will move on to the consent agenda. Is there any items that the board wishes to have pulled from the consent agenda? Hearing none, I'll ask for a motion to approve or deny the consent agenda.
I move that the governing board approve the items submitted for consent.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Hearing none, the motion will pass. Thank you. Moving on to item 10. Looks like it's going to turn over to you, sir.
Thank you, Madam President. Good evening, everyone, governing board members, Dr. Freeman, Littleton community. This evening, I will be reviewing the FY23 annual financial report. Arizona Revised Statute 15904 requires school districts to prepare and submit an annual financial report no later than October 15th of each year. This annual financial report is a broad overview and reporting system of the district's operation and financial condition. On the slides to follow, we will be reviewing some highlights from this report. The board sees this slide a number of times over the course of the school year. The AFR is a culmination of the budget timeline for each fiscal year. As you can see, this budget timeline began in the spring of 2022 with the budget development and worked its way to this evening with the annual financial report. These slides will follow the order of the AFR document attached to this item if you'd like to follow along. Page 1 of the AFR, after the cover page, records the revenues received in our levy accounts. These accounts include maintenance and operations, capital, also known as district additional assistance, adjacent ways, and debt service. You can see from the chart, a majority of revenue received by the district was from the state, approximately 66%, followed by property taxes, 32%, revenue in lieu of taxes, 1%, and there was also a small amount of interest accrued over the course of the year, which amounted to 1%. There is one item to note in that, is that in the prior year, county property taxes was higher than this. Legislature did remove the county tax, and all remaining tax would be coming from the state general fund. Page 2 of the AFR reports on maintenance and operations and allows us to review expenditures in several ways. All school districts are required to adhere to the rules and guidelines outlined in the Uniform System of Financial Records, or USFR. Part of these guidelines are how districts are required to code salaries and purchases. The account code structure is made up of 7 subsections, which are fund, program, function, object, unit, course, and project. We will touch on the first 4 in this presentation. The account code standardization is important because it allows districts and charters to analyze expenditures like we will be doing this evening. First, let's look at the expenditures by program. Of the almost $43.2 million spent in maintenance and operations, regular education made up $33.7 million, or 78% of these expenditures. Approximately $7.2 million, or 17%, was expended on special education programs, 1.9, or 4.5%, was spent on transportation, and $311,000, or 1%, was spent on the K-3 reading program. This is pretty similar to what we spent in prior years. Page 2 of the AFR also allows us to analyze our expenditures by function. You can think of expenditures by function as who made these expenditures. Again, of the approximately $43.2 million expended in M&O, 26.2, or 60.6%, was spent on direct instruction to the students. To complement that number, the district also expended approximately $6.3 million, or 15%, on support of both students and instructional staff. $7.8 million, or 18%, is attributed to operations, and $2.9 million, or 6.6%, administration. Administrative services include business resources, human resources, IT, as well as district and campus administration. Would like to note on this slide that the 60.6% spent on direct instruction is 2.6% higher than prior year. Page 2 also allows us to break down by object. You can think of the object code as to what the funds were spent on. 87% of expenditures are attributed to salaries and benefits. Purchase services include employee training, repairs and maintenance, travel, utilities, as well as purchase professional services such as occupational and physical therapists, and other contracted positions when needed. Purchase services comprised $3.4 million or 9% of the expenditures. Supplies were 4% of the expenditures, and other expenditures were under 1%. Other expenditures include expenditures for dues and fees, such as memberships to professional organizations. This is almost the exact same breakdown that we had in last year. Page 4 of the AFR reports on district additional assistance, also known as capital. 63% of expenditures were for furniture, fixtures, and equipment, which include campus and district level purchases. Construction services were for both campus and district level projects were 9%. 15% was expended on books and instructional aids for the students. A new requirement this year had the district break out non-instructional software into an additional category. The district spent 12.7% on this category and included all the software programs the district uses to operate, including the financial software, attendance software, transportation software, etc. Page 5 of the AFR gives details of federal and state grants, which have been summarized here for you. Federal projects include our title allocations, IDEA grants, E-rate, Medicaid reimbursement. It also includes all the COVID relief funds. Federal grants are typically reimbursement grants, which means we spend the approved allocation and then file for a reimbursement on the approved expenditures. This is one area that often reflects a negative balance while the district waits for reimbursement. You can see that there at the ending balance amount under federal programs. State projects are reflected here as well. First Thing First grant, along with small gifted education grants and school safety grants, comprise that amount. This slide allows us to review the expenditures of the federal projects by grant fund. As you can see, a majority of the expenditures were in our COVID-related funds. These expenditures include purchases consistent with guidance provided by ADE around acceptable expenditures, including retention stipends to employees, technology expenditures, signature school expenditures, and some staff salary and benefits. Other notable expenditures include Title I at $1.53 million and IDEA at $1.2 million. This concludes the AFR presentation. I'd like to thank you and see if any of the board have any questions or comments.
Questions, comments? Hearing none, I'll ask for a motion to approve or disapprove item 10.
I move that the governing board approve the fiscal 2022-2023 annual financial report as presented.
A second.
I have a first and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Hearing none, motion will pass. Thank you. Dr. Haid, we're going to turn it over to you.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the board. We have our second round of integrated action plans tonight, and I would like to welcome Mr. Brian DeLesio to the podium to do the introductions as he did the last meeting.
Before introducing our 5 principals to present their school integrated action plans, I'd like to give you a brief overview of how student growth is determined and calculated. Many of our schools are using student growth as a measurement for evaluating progress of one or more of their integrated action plan goals. And there's a slide. Perfect. Thank you, Jim. I'd like to direct you to the current slide to explain a student's growth compared to other students with similar prior year test scores. Students receive a final score that is weighted based on students' pre-test scores and how much they grew. A student growth percentile, or SGP, is a number between 1 and 99. If student Isabella scored a 2100 on the previous year assessment, she is grouped and compared to other students that also scored 2100. Students take the assessment in the current year, and then their scores are compared to the prior year group. Students are then characterized into 3 levels ranging from low to high. Low, which is 1 to 33, average or typical, which is 34 to 66, and high, which is 67 to 99. Based on current year results, you can see here Isabella's score was assigned an SGP of 61, which means that Isabella grew more than 61% of her academic peers over one school year. Our schools are using students who have shown typical and high growth to measure the effectiveness of some of their goals. And I'm going to stop there. Is there any questions regarding typical or high growth.
Just to clarify, you stated that, so the students who are on IEPs or otherwise have a special or individualized education plan, they would not be included in this, or would it be weighted differently?
They, Madam President, Member Barnett, students with IEPs are still calculated along with their peers. So if they scored, say, 2100, for example, they would be put into that same group. So for this calculation, they're not broken up based on other classifications like an IEP or EL or anything like that. Okay, thank you. Next, I'd like to provide you with a quick review of the Integrated Action Plan and School Improvement Process. The primary needs identified in the Comprehensive Needs Assessment become the foundation for the school's Integrated Action Plan. Each Title I school is required to create a minimum of 3 IAP goals that are submitted to the Arizona Department of Education. These 3 principles, which the district has chosen this year as Principle 2, Effective Teachers and Instruction, which is broken up into K-3 literacy and 4-8 math. Principle 3, which is Effective Organization of Time with a focus on our professional learning communities, or PLCs. And Principle 6, Family and Community Engagement with a concentration on chronic absenteeism. The superintendent goals and school goals have been aligned to ensure that all departments, schools, staff, students, and stakeholders are laser focused on the most impactful and beneficial outcomes for the district. When hearing from each principal this evening, they will share their 2 integrated action plan SMART goals, data used from the previous year to set goals, strategies and action steps to meeting the goals, and measures to determine growth or challenges. So tonight we'll begin with Dr. Mike Cagle, principal of Country Place Leadership Academy. Based on initial AASA calculations, the average percent meeting proficiency or considered passing in ELA for grades 3 through 8 is 32%, and that ranged from 20% to 38% in grade 4, which was 8 points higher than the district average. The average percent meeting proficiency or considered passing in math for grades 3 through 8 was 20% and ranged from 9 to 34% in grade 4, which was 12 points higher than the district average. So welcome, Dr. Cagle.
I'm really quiet. Thank you again for this opportunity to share a little bit about the work that we're doing at Country Place Leadership Academy. So President Reyes, members of the board, Dr. Freeman, and members of the executive team and our esteemed audience and community, we have a variety of goals that we're working through at Country Place for this year. One of the main goals is around reading. So the importance of students learning to read cannot be emphasized enough. So one of our areas of focus is in K-3. We want to increase the number of students that are low risk on our FastBridge assessment by at least 10%. We have grade level goals underneath those based on where students started at the beginning of the year. And basically we want to take our some risk kids, we want to keep our low risk kids low risk, and we want to take our some risk kids and move them into the next section. And we'd like everybody to shift sections so that everybody moves. So that in order to make that happen, we're going to increase opportunities for training on increasing best practices, instructional practices, and the effective use of our core materials, including Wonders and StudySync. We want to increase opportunities for training in content area strategies and using resources. We want to promote our collaboration by continuing to implement professional learning communities school-wide with a focus on the use of common formative assessments and also incorporating our reading specialists into that work. We want to work with our teachers to unpack essential standards and then implement reading interventions through small group instruction for all students, including Walk to Read for all students and also small group instruction in their Tier 1. So our our success criteria is to increase the percent of proficient, highly proficient students on our common formative assessments, our unit assessments, and also on our benchmarking assessments that I shared with you, which is FastBridge. So our teachers are working really hard to really support students. We had our parent-teacher conferences tonight, and students got to share their goals and how far they've come along with their goals, and they set second quarter goals, and they are off to the races. So that's our ELA goal. Our math goal is centered around ensuring that students make typical or average, typical, or high growth on our pre and post Illuminate assessment. In order to make that happen, we're going to increase opportunities for training on increasing the use of best practices in mathematics and the effective use of our core materials, including Go Math and Big Ideas. We're working on training and implementation of productive struggle and also providing success criteria for students. We believe that if kids understand what they need to accomplish, they can self-regulate, self-monitor, and support their learning. We want to continue to promote collaboration and focus on the use of common formative assessments so we can study our practice, unpack essential standards, and then implement supplemental math materials, including number worlds and building fact fluency, that are adopted by the district. So our plan is to monitor students, and we hope to see increased proficiency in mathematics as well as in reading, and we really appreciate the support of the board and our district leadership in providing us with amazing opportunities for training and also for the great materials that we have to use with our staff. So any questions from the board or Dr. Friedman?
Questions? I just had one comment on the SMART goal, which was, do I understand this correctly, that absenteeism is at 32.8?
Yeah, great question, President Reyes. So what you see on there for student attendance is that 32.8% of our students last year were chronically absent. So that means they missed more than 18 days. We've seen across the nation a huge increase in chronic absence, and it is a major challenge. So our goal is to reduce that significantly. Attendance has been a huge focus for our district, starting at our district kickoff, the administrative kickoff, and we've already seen significant increases in attendance this year. So last year, we were running around like anywhere from 92 to 93% attendance just on a daily attendance rate, and we're back up into 96, 97 this year. So we've already seen a big change just overall, and we're working with families, with our families that are struggling with attendance for a variety of reasons, putting action plans in place, meeting with them, supporting them. We have families that are in crisis that have issues with transportation, health issues, there's all kinds of reasons why people struggle with attendance, but we're working with the families to try to help them because they can't learn if they're not here.
Yeah, I mean, 33% missing 18, that's huge.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Is it the national?
It's remarkable. Yeah, the change is
remarkable. It doesn't matter to me if it's national, that is just, wow.
Yep.
We need to figure out what we can do to help parents. And
absolutely.
But thank you,
Yep.
I appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions? No? Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Thanks.
All right, now we will hear from Dr. Nicole Durazo, principal at Littleton Prep Academy. As you know, Littleton Prep Academy opened its doors this year to students from kindergarten through grade 5. While they do not have advantage of previous year's data to build upon, this inaugural year is all about establishing a strong foundation. To set meaningful goals for this academic year, Littleton Prep Academy has taken from the district-wide results from last year. They are committed to using this valuable data to ensure that their students receive the best possible education to help them achieve their full potential. Welcome, Dr. Durazo.
Buenas noches, Madam President, members of the board, Dr. Freeman, executive team, and Littleton community. I am proud to share our goals for Littleton Prep Academy. Our first goal is by May of 2024, LPA K3 students will have shown an increase of at least 30% from the beginning of the year FastBridge Literacy Assessment to the end of the year FastBridge Literacy Assessment. This goal was selected because we want to increase competency and literacy for our students. We reviewed last year's data for all Littleton students who transferred to Littleton, And through that analysis, we determined that students showed roughly 22% growth from beginning of the year to the end of the year. It is important to focus on K-3 literacy in particular, as we are building the foundation of strong reading skills. We will carry this goal through our 4th and 5th grade students as well. K-3 students are learning to read, and 4 or 5 students read to learn. For all new students, we completed the phonics screener and analyzed the beginning of the year FastBridge assessment results. The root cause of our concern is lack of lesson planning, providing small group and differentiated instruction. We are focused on building capacity amongst our staff when it comes to the design of their lessons, their delivery, and the quality of student practice opportunities in class. We believe that this goal will help our teachers to develop their skill set in teaching ELA. In addition, individual student needs are met during our WIN, What I Need time. This opportunity provides 40 minutes of intervention and enrichment time for all K-5 students. Students will be reassessed every 3 to 4 weeks, and the groups will be adjusted based on data. Success for this goal will be evidenced by increased student achievement through progress monitoring. Our second goal is by May of 2024, LPA will maintain an average daily attendance rate of 95% or better. Our need is to create a sense of urgency around the importance of being at school on time every day. Our desire is that the practice and behaviors that we implement will not only impact our chronically absent students, but will educate and empower our students and families on the importance of being at school on time every day. I say that a lot. We will increase our communication to our families about the importance and relevance of attendance through our digital platforms, morning announcements, and calls from myself regarding tardies and absences. We celebrate attendance by rewarding homerooms with the best attendance rate for the month during our first Friday assemblies. The classrooms with the best attendance receive a coveted Special Lion Attendance Award trophy to proudly display in their classroom. We will also implement a Sunshine Club for chronically absent or tardy students. Our social worker, Ms. Bowden, will lead this program to work with families on support to be at school on time every day, and also check in with students to build an additional ACE on campus. Students will track and monitor their attendance with the opportunity for rewards if goals have been met. We are also looking at ways to reward families for attendance, because after all, it takes a village. And we want to recognize our families for their commitment to increased attendance. We anticipate success evidenced by increased student attendance and increased student achievement. Thank you for the opportunity to share the LPA goals this year, and as we like to say at LPA, Vamos Leones! I would be happy to answer any questions you may have. We say it a lot louder though.
Any questions? No? I like that phrase, so we need to figure out where to put that. Maybe on our marquee. I like that K-3 learn to read, and above that, read to learn. That's
right.
That's now.
Oh, I thought you meant the every day, on time, every day.
That's okay too. You can use that, but that's powerful. So we got to figure that out. But we'll coin that.
You can
Thank
just give me props.
Yeah, we will.
Thank you.
Thank you. I like that. Pretty snappy, huh?
Next, we'll hear from Ms. Ann Catlin, principal of the LESD Online Academy. Based on initial AASA calculations, the average percent meeting proficiency in ELA for grades 3 through 8 was 39% and ranged from 25% to 50% in grade 3, which was 23 points higher than the district average. The average percent meeting proficiency in math for grades 3 through 8 was 19% and ranged from 6% to 33% in grade 5, which was 18 points higher than the district average. Welcome, Ms. Catlin.
Good evening, President Reyes, Governing Board members, Dr. Freeman, the executive team, members of the Littleton community. Thank you for the opportunity to share LESD Online Academy's Integrated Action Plan for the 2023-24 school year. LESD Online's first goal is 75% of 4th through 8th grade students will make typical to high growth from the pre to post English language arts assessment by May of 2024. We chose 75% as our goal because in the 2022-2023 school year, we achieved 70% typical to high growth as evidenced by our district pre to post ELA data. Our goal then is to outperform last year's achievement. We've identified our primary needs in 4th through 8th grade ELA to be intentionally planned differentiated instruction to meet the needs of all students, teachers' deepened understanding of data analysis, goal setting, and progress monitoring, and students setting academic goals and monitoring their data to improve their overall performance and growth. To accomplish this goal, we must focus on student learning and growth by intentionally planning differentiated Tier 1 instruction, targeted small group instruction, and intervention and extension opportunities to include our win time, our what I need time built into our master schedule. We'll also be systematically implementing the professional learning community philosophy and processes and developing protocols for goal setting and monitoring of data by teachers and students. Evidence of our progress towards our goal will be data collected from small group instruction, formative and benchmark assessments, also classroom walkthrough data and instructional rounds. Teachers and students systematically monitoring data and updating their goals as well. Our second goal this year is 90% of all students attending the full academic year will complete an average of 5 Dreambox lessons a week. We chose 5 Dreambox lessons a week as a goal because Dreambox is an intelligently adaptive math program evidenced to fill learning gaps when students are completing at least 5 or more lessons a week. In fact, the recent Harvard study found that students completing at least 60 minutes a week could fast track their learning up to 2 years growth in 1 year's time. In 2022-2023, our school-wide average was 2.88 lessons, and we're going to increase that to 5 lessons this year a week. We've identified our primary need in math to be an increase in proficiency for all 4th through 8th grade students. We found that our root cause for this primary need is a lack of essential math skill practice with differentiation to support individual students' learning needs. To reach our goal, teachers will implement what I need time with intervention and extension to include time for Dreambox. We'll use Dreambox data and progress monitoring tools to track progress towards our goal of 5 lessons a week and increase our math achievement. Evidence of this growth will be an increased student achievement scores in math formative, benchmark, and our district pre to post assessment data, as well as an increased student achievement in math as evidenced by our end of the year state assessment data. Thank you so much for allowing us to share our goals this year. Do you have any questions?
No, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Now we'll hear from Miss Samantha Armstrong, principal at Estrella Vista STEM Academy. The average percent meaning proficiency in ELA for grades 3 through 8 was 26% and ranged from 17% to 32% in grade 7, which was 3 points higher than the district average. The average percent meaning proficiency in math for grades 3 through 8 was 15% and ranged from, I have a typo there. It says 63%, which is not true. So I'm not sure. I'm going to skip that. I'm not sure if it's 3% or 13%, but it did go up to 34% in grade 3. Grade 3 increased 10 percentage points from 2022 to 2023. So thank you, Ms. Armstrong.
Good evening. Madam President, members of the board, Dr. Freeman, the executive team, and Littleton community. I'm pleased to share the goals for the upcoming year for Estrella Vista STEM Academy. Our first goal, by May of 2024, Estrella Vista STEM Academy will have a 20% increase of students into the low-risk category from beginning of the year to end of year on the Fast Bridge reading assessment. In looking at growth, approximately 16% from previous year, this goal was selected to increase literacy competency for our students, with the end goal being exiting 3rd grade with the skills to be able and confident readers. The root cause was needing to increase intentional planning for differentiated professional learning opportunities with our staff. The outcome of this is to build capacity with staff so they're able to plan for rigorous and engaging literacy lessons for students. We are using our Wednesday professional learning days to develop our teachers with differentiated learning opportunities and targeted literacy skills. During our collaborative meetings, teams will focus on student learning, progress monitoring, common assessments, and focusing on results. Success for this will be measured and tracked through our FastBridge progress monitoring, mid and end of year assessments. Our second goal is by May of 2024, Estrella Vista STEM Academy teachers will engage in vertical articulation planning sessions in professional development to strengthen their instructional practices as measured by the Professional Learning Community, or PLC, meeting guidance tool. We created this goal to build the teacher's overall capacity to engage in and plan for rigorous and aligned instruction for all students based on feedback from site professional learning and walkthrough data from previous years. The root cause was the need for additional opportunities for planning and vertical learning and development for staff. We will use the leadership team and guiding coalition to build opportunities for vertical learning and articulation to occur in the yearly development plan. We will seek feedback from grade band teams on further needs as well. Using the Guiding Coalition leadership team and leveraging our partnership with Solution Tree, we will support campus collaborative teams in building grade level skills, instructional strategies, building common assessments, and interventions and extensions that we will build our focus on results. Success for this is going to be measured through staff feedback with teams, the Guiding Coalition, and the leadership, all using that PLC meeting guidance tool to rank and categorize our professional learning teams. Thank you for your time in hearing our goals. Are there any questions?
Any questions? Hearing none, thank you.
Thank you.
Alrighty, last but not least, we'll hear from Dr. Rob Manahan, Principal of Fine Arts Academy. Based on initial AASA calculations, the average percent meeting proficiency in ELA for grades 3 through 8 was 26% and ranged from 17 to 40% in grade 4, which was 9 points higher than the district average. Grade 4 increased, oh my goodness, I apologize. The average percent meeting proficiency in math for grades 3 through 8 was 13% and ranged from 8 to 22% in grade 3. So welcome, Dr. Manahan.
Well, good evening, Governing Board, President Reyes, Governing Board members, Dr. Freeman, Executive Team, and Littleton community. I'm Rob Manahan, and I'm the proud principal of the fabulous, fearsome Falcons of Fine Arts, and I'm excited to share our goals for the upcoming year with you. We have numerous goals, but tonight I'll be highlighting 2 goals for you. The first is that by May 2024, the percentage of kindergarten through 3rd grade students in the low-risk category of the FastBridge reading assessment will increase by 10% from the beginning of the year to the end of the year. Last year, we ended up at about 27% in that low-risk category, which was a whopping increase of 2% over the previous year. This year, we expect to meet or exceed our 10% growth goal for the 2023-2024 school year. The goal was selected because we want teachers to follow a systemic approach in teaching the ELA foundational skills with highly effective lessons to engage all students in learning. This includes regularly monitoring students to ensure there is student learning. The root of our concern is that we are seeing inconsistent Tier 1 instruction. In the past, there's been a lack of direction, guidance, and support with how to implement the instructional strategies for teaching foundational skills, which then has hindered instructional growth and development. As we know, the greatest impact on student achievement is what happens in the classroom. We believe addressing these issues and developing this goal will help our teachers effectively implement Tier 1 instruction around ELA foundational skills and increase student achievement. To accomplish this goal, teachers will receive ongoing professional development on how to effectively teach foundational skills and will regularly progress monitor student achievement using FastBridge and the Wonders Phonics Screener. In addition, teachers will pull small groups during their ELA block to ensure students are understanding and learning the skills being taught during Tier 1 instruction, and students will receive that What I Need, or that Walk to Read intervention targeted for each student's academic strengths 30 minutes daily and in their areas in need of improvement. Success for this goal will be evidenced by student growth as measured by FastBridge and the Wonders Phonics Screener, as well as classroom observation data on implementation of those foundational skills in instructional strategies. Our second goal is by May 2024, fine arts collaborative teams will move from a beginning of the year average rubric score of 1.5 to an average score of 3.0 on the end of the year PLC Needs Assessment for Continuous Improvement 4-point rubric. This is moving from a beginning level to a practicing level. The rubric assesses the 4 questions of a PLC. What do we want students to be able to know and do? How will we know if each student has learned it? How will we respond when some students do not learn it? And how will we extend that learning for students who have demonstrated proficiency? Our primary need with this goal is to ensure staff understand and consistently implement the full professional learning cycle. This goal was selected because we want our teachers to collaborate to ensure the success of our students. The root of our concern is the high turnover of leadership and staff that has occurred over the last 4 to 5 years, 4 principals in 7 or 8 years, which has resulted in a lack of clarity of expectations and desired outcomes. Through the full implementation of the PLC cycle, staff will identify and unpack essential standards, create common formative assessments to guide instruction, and provide intervention and enrichment designed to meet students' individual needs. To support the implementation and monitoring of this work, we'll utilize our PLC Solution Tree coach to support, monitor, and identify best practices in professional learning communities and research-based protocols to support higher academic achievement. Administrators and our school achievement coach will observe and monitor collaborative team meetings, and our guiding coalition will identify PLC best practices and utilize data to share with each collaborative team to support growth and success. Success for this goal will be evidenced by growth on that pre and post PLC needs assessment. Teams will consistently use the district pacing guide with their essential standards to plan learning targets as observed by the PLC coach, admin, and via team agendas. We'll see staff follow the PLC learning cycle, which is developing common form of assessments, using data protocols to examine assessment data, develop strategies to meet identified student deficiencies and extensions, and begin the cycle again. Strategies will be developed to support students when they are not successful, as well as to extend learning when students are excelling in their learning. So that's what I have for you tonight. Thank you for your time and attention. This concludes the presentation of our goals for Fine Arts Academy. Do you have any questions?
I just have 2 questions. One, well, a comment. One, I want to thank you for your transparency of what you've identified as root cause. I think that speaks highly of your transparency to the board. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
The second thing is on your SMART goal, you'll have less than 28.4 of absenteeism. What do you have now?
That's our daily average is at about 92.5%, and so that's that. I'm missing the word where you've got kids who are missing about 18 or more days. That's what that 28.5% is. Chronic absenteeism. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Okay.
All right. So at this point, it looks like we're going to call for a motion for adjournment.
I move that we adjourn at 7:08.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone want to stay? Hearing none. We will adjourn at 7:08.